Okay, let's take a look on my solution. Well, remember the first step, we want to zip the GDP per capita and the colors. So the index 1 to index 1, index 2 to index 2, right? And we want to do the zip and then we want to do a sort. And after we do the zip and the sort, the next question is how do we want to have the sorted tuples broken again to two lists? And that's easy because we can use the list comprehension. And after we zip the tuple, and then we can do for xy in the zip tuple, and then is there a condition here? No, we don't really need a condition because we are keeping everything, right? And we are only keeping the x, and then that will be all the GDP per capita sorted from low to high. And then if we do the same thing, but we are keeping the y, and then what will be the y? And y will be the colors of corresponding to the sorted GDP per capita from low to high. So we are going to have the x sorted, and then by sorting the x, and then we are also keeping y as the corresponding we keep the corresponding correlation between the x and the y. And after that, I want to do a bar chart, and then this bar chart is going to be simple, and then we simply do the x list, and then we are using the color as a y list, and we do have to use a x ticks, but we don't have the countries. We don't have the country names, and in this way, I'm just using the length of the y list as the ticks. Well, so you see that is from 0 to 140. That's not ideal, but well, I would say for this part it's okay because one, we don't have the country names, and number two, even we have the country names, we don't have the space to show all the country names. And using this bar chart and plus the countries, it's the continents of the countries, and then what story can you tell? And again, you see all the blue bars are on the left side. And for the blue bars, they are African countries. So most of the African countries are not doing very well. And but you see here, there are a few blue bars in the middle toward the toward the right side. So there are a few African countries, they are doing okay. And if you want to see the distribution of the different continents. And well, you can see for the red bars, there are some really on the left side, and there are some bars on the right side. So for Asia, the red bars, well, the GDP per capita between countries, they different really a lot. There are some really wealthy countries, and there are also some really poor countries, right? And blue bars, most of them on the right side, and yellow bars, most of them on the right side. So Americas and Europe, most of them are doing fine. Okay, so well, for the bar chart, well, usually the bar chart is a very simple plot, and it's really easy for people to read, and we can use that to tell a really surprising story, especially if one bar is so high than the rest of the bars. For example, like this one. You guys are graduate students, and this is what you earn on average. Probably you say no, we don't earn that much, and the reason could be part of the money were used on you to have your tuition or some other fees. So that may not really be the money you have on your paycheck from our university. And I'm a untenured professor. Okay, so unfortunately I'm here. And then there for tenured professors, and the pay will be a little bit higher, and for the dean, provost, and then the university president. And on the right side, you see the football coach. On average, they're earning more than 1 million, and they are also considered to be an employee of the university. And I can tell you this is true because when I was doing my PhD in NC State, and I kind of see all the university employees I can I can find their salary. So originally I want to see, okay, how much does my advisor earn every year? And then I do a search and find that out. And later I say, okay, who earns the most in my university? And yes, that was the the football coach in NC State. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about the mesh grade. Mesh grade. So for the mesh grade, and if we want to specify a matrix of 3 by 2, and then we want to say for the x and y, they are both between 0 and 1. And then for the x, I'm cutting the space of 0 to 1 with into three pieces, and for the y, I'm cutting the 0 and 1, the range of 0 and 1, into 2 pieces, and then I want to do a mesh grid. And by doing a mesh grid, and then I'm trying to do a a matrix 3 by 2. Okay, well, and later we are going to talk about the contour plot. But remember, for the contour plot, I don't really think this is a super useful plot in the world of data science. But we are using the contour plot as a tool to see how do the color bars or the color maps work. Okay, and for this one, this is what you see on a contour map, and this is a 2D map. And if you want to change that to a 3D view, and then it should be like this. And by the way, and if you are a trailblazer, or you are a person who's serious about hiking, and then you will know how to read contour plots. And for my auntie, she say, well, I well, she's a professional hiker. I don't say that. I don't want to say that, but she's a trailblazer. Well, she's the person who tries to develop new trails instead of following the existing trails. And I believe 2 months ago, she was in mountain, and then she was with a group of people, and they are trying to develop a new trail. And if this development of the new trail succeed, and then they will be the guide, and they're gonna stay there and lead other groups to do that trail again, and then she can earn some money. But unfortunately, that failed. But anyhow, if you're a trailblazer, and then you should know this kind of contour plot. Well, that's easy. Well, you see a circle inside another circle, another circle, another circle. So that is a hill or a mountain. And if you also have the height marked on the lines, and you say this is 0 and zero point 0.5, and then 1, 1.5, so that is a hill. And from 0 to negative 0.5 to negative 1, and that is a valley, right? So and my question is, let me show this word without showing my answer key. So the problem with this one and is, well, for both hills and the valleys, they are the circle inside another circle inside another circle. But you really have to read the numbers to tell if that's really a hill or if that's a valley. So how about we change to this version? So for this version, if we are doing with the negative values, and then that will be a dotted line. So in this version, we can better tell this is a hill and this is a valley. And let's move on. And if we add some color, okay, we add some color. And my question is this version better or worse, and why? Well, probably you guys are gonna agree with me this one is worse. Why? Because we are throwing a lot of colors to our reader, but for those colors, they don't mean anything. Well, I want to see the red and green. And well, red is lower than green, but why? And then yellow is higher than red, green, and blue. Why? Well, those are just discrete colors, and we are just throwing some random colors and make this plot even harder to read, right? So when we are using colors, we want to make sure the color we are picking are useful. We are using the colors not to make the visualization beautiful. We are making use of colors to make sure to make the plot better readable. Okay, so well, let's create. I create another function, and this is just function that we can do uh, a 3D values. X and Y will be the X and Y coordinates, and Z will be the height. However, we are using the contour plot, so Z will be well, it is still a 2D plot, and Z will be used to show the hills and the valleys. Okay, so well, if you're doing the contour plot with the X and Y and the Z created here, and then we just use the black. Okay, and then we have the valley here, a valley here, a valley here, and a hill here. So well, this version is not so cool. And let's add some color. So I'm using a color map. So I'm using the red gray color map, right? And then for the red, and they are the valleys, and then for the black, they are the hills. So it seems that we are doing okayish on this one because we can clearly see for the red they are the valleys, right? And then if you want to see how many different color maps are there, and I can do a help, and let me scroll down. Okay, those are all the color maps available, and you can see, boy, there are really a lot. Well, and then let's move on, and we are gonna try to do a color bar. And this color bar is usually very important because using the color bar, and we can show, okay, the blacks, they are the higher numbers, and then for the red, they are the lower numbers. Okay, and then I created another plot, and then I want to do the color bar again. And for this one, if I want to use the color bar as a the color map as gray, not so impressive, right? But is that good or bad? Well, if we are only showing the high versus low, and then we only need to use two colors anyhow, right? And then if we are using the white versus gray, well, I wouldn't say that is a bad option because we are only showing two possible values, a high value and higher value versus a lower value. And well, here is a very interesting discussion, and we can see a lot of the different color, the color maps. So the binary from the black to white, and then we have the blues from the dark blue to the light blue. And if you see all the color maps here on the first part, and you see that is we come from a really dark color to really light color, say from the really dark purple to really light purple. Okay, and then there are something else, say for this one. So that is the blue, white, and red. So we started from the blue, we go all the way to white, and then we come back again to red color. So well, if you want to show something, say cold versus warm, or you want to show Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, and then a red, white, and a blue, white, and red make perfect sense, right? So those are a couple of the things really available, and I don't really like those of them because in that color bar, and then you just throw in a lot of the colors. Well, the number of the possible colors on those color maps could be a little bit too many for people to process. Okay, so those are just my personal opinions, and feel free to read this article. I think that one is really interesting. Okay, and then the next thing I want to talk about is the color limit. So just now we see this one and something like this one, and then we are using the full spectrum of the color map. And then if we say if the value is lower than zero point 0.7 and that is low enough that I want to use the darkest blue. And similarly, if that value is greater than 0.7 and that value is high enough, I want to use the darkest red, and then I can put a color limitation. So that means for the value lower than zero point 0.7 or higher than lower than negative zero point 0.7 or higher than 7, I'm going to use the darkest color on both sides to represent them. So well, by putting the color limitation, and then we are able to see even darker, bigger red dots and the blue dots. And some from time to time you may find that you have to do this. And the next thing very cool is, well, remember we are dealing with the blues, and the blues is a continuous color bar from white to dark blue. But if we want to discretize this color bar, we only want to put that into 6 bins. We can do that. So here I'm using color map, and then I'm breaking the blues color map into 6 bins in total. And then from the right side of the color bar, you can see there are only 6 different blues available in this color bar. And personally, I sometimes I want to do that because when you are trying to discretize a color bar, you make it a little bit easier to read, and then you can also see better the shapes, like from the white to slightly blue to even darker blue, and then you can see the shapes of the dots. And sometimes I want to do that because that will show us the shape. And that is it for today. And well, to sum up, we talk about the histograms, and those are histogram and the bar charts. And for the bar charts, well, we usually try to show a discrete data. And then we talk about the contour plot. And for the contour plot, I don't see they're very useful, but using the contour plots, we can see the power of the color bars, and there are really a lot to choose from. And when you are choosing the color maps, and try to first understand what are you trying to show. Well, if you are trying to show the bipolar colors, like from red to blue, or if you want to use the purple to green, and then you are trying to show people the bipolar of the colors, or if your data is more like a binary data, and then you can do from the dark green to almost white, and then that is okay. So the thinking in choosing the color bar is you don't want to throw in too many colors to confuse your readers. Okay, and eventually here is a plot that I try to grab all the possible color bars, and then I want to show that in a big plot. So if you want to, you can make a screenshot of this one, and then later if you have to use a color map, you can choose from here. Okay, so that's it for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.